What if I told you that some of cinema's most beloved characters were born from real pain, extreme physical transformations, and even life-threatening situations? What depths did these actresses plumb to bring their iconic roles to life? The answers might surprise you and make you see these classic performances in a whole new light. Vivian Lee, Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind. Her journey to becoming Scarlett O'Hara was a tale of perseverance. The search for the perfect Scarlett lasted 2 years, with 1,400 actresses interviewed. Lee, relatively unknown in Hollywood, secured the role in December 1938, just days before filming began. The production was grueling. Lee worked 6 days a week for 16 hours a day over 125 days. The tight corsets required for historical accuracy took a physical toll. Lee's waist was cinched to a mere 18.5 inches, causing difficulty breathing and occasional fainting on set. Unknown to many at the time, Lee struggled with bipolar disorder throughout filming. She later recalled, "I had a terrible desire to giggle at the most dramatic moments." The intense filming schedule and emotional demands of the role exacerbated her condition. Olivier, her husband at the time, noted her bouts of mania during production. Despite these challenges, Lee's portrayal of Scarlett was acclaimed. The film premiered on December 15, 1939, in Atlanta. It was a massive success, earning $390 million worldwide when adjusted for inflation. Judy Garland, Dorothy Gale in The Wizard of Oz. She was just 16 when she took on the role of Dorothy Gale. The studio's treatment of the young star was troubling by today's standards. MGM put Garland on a strict diet of chicken soup, coffee, and 80 cigarettes a day to curb her appetite. The studio also forced Garland to wear a tight corset to appear younger and thinner. She was given amphetamines for energy and barbiturates to sleep, beginning a lifelong struggle with substance abuse. Filming was physically demanding. The iconic ruby slippers were actually painful to wear for long periods. The original Tin Man, Buddy Ebsen, was replaced after 9 days due to an allergic reaction to his aluminum powder makeup. Garland worked 6 days a week, often for 18 hours a day. She later recalled, "They had us working day and night on drugs to keep us on our feet long after we were exhausted." The famous Over the Rainbow scene took 12 takes. Director Victor Fleming reportedly slapped Garland when she couldn't stop giggling during a take with Bert Lahr, the Cowardly Lion. Despite these hardships, Garland's performance was a triumph. The film premiered on August 15, 1939, and was a critical and commercial success. It earned $26.1 million worldwide, a significant sum for the time. Garland received a special Juvenile Academy Award for her performance. However, the film's success came at a personal cost, setting the stage for her later struggles with addiction and mental health issues. Marilyn Monroe, Sugarcane in Some Like It Hot. Her portrayal of Sugarcane in Some Like It Hot is iconic, but the behind-the-scenes reality was far from sweet. Monroe was 32 during filming and struggling with personal issues, including a failing marriage to playwright Arthur Miller. Director Billy Wilder faced numerous challenges with Monroe on set. She frequently arrived late and had difficulty remembering her lines. One scene reportedly took 47 takes for Monroe to say, "Where's the bourbon?" correctly. Wilder later quipped, "We were in mid-flight and there was a nut on the plane." Monroe was pregnant during the early stages of production, but tragically miscarried in December 1958. This personal loss added to her fragile emotional state during filming. The actress's reliance on pills affected her performance. Co-star Tony Curtis claimed her breath was often sour from the medication. Despite these challenges, Monroe delivered a captivating performance. The famous scene where Sugarcane sings "I Want to Be Loved by You" took 47 takes to complete. Monroe insisted on multiple retakes, striving for perfection in her performance. The film premiered on March 29, 1959, and was a massive success, grossing $40 million worldwide. Monroe won a Golden Globe for her performance, but the experience took a toll on her health and relationships. Julie Andrews, Mary Poppins in Mary Poppins. Her role as Mary Poppins marked her film debut, a triumph that came after a significant disappointment. Andrews had been passed over for the film adaptation of My Fair Lady, despite playing Eliza Doolittle on Broadway. Walt Disney personally offered her the role of Mary Poppins, saying, "You're the only one who can play Mary Poppins." The role was physically demanding. Andrews performed many of her own stunts, including the flying scenes. These scenes involved a painful harness system. She recalled, "I was hoisted up in this hideous harness, and I felt as if I was hanging from the end of a coat hanger." The iconic spoonful of sugar scene required Andrews to perform magic tricks while singing. She spent weeks practicing sleight of hand to make the tricks look effortless. Andrews' crisp British accent, crucial for the role, caused strain on her vocal cords. She often needed to rest her voice between takes to maintain her performance quality throughout the long shooting days. The film's innovative mix of live action and animation posed unique challenges. Andrews had to interact with animated characters that weren't there during filming, requiring significant imagination and precise timing. Mary Poppins premiered on August 27, 1964, to critical acclaim. It grossed over $103 million worldwide and won 5 Academy Awards. Andrews won the Oscar for Best Actress, a vindicating triumph after being overlooked for My Fair Lady. Fay Dunaway, Joan Crawford in Mommy Dearest. Her portrayal of Joan Crawford in Mommy Dearest is notorious in Hollywood history. The role required an intense physical transformation. Dunaway spent hours each day in makeup, having her eyebrows shaved and redrawn to match Crawford's distinctive look. She wore padding to mimic Crawford's figure and even had her hairline altered. The actress immersed herself in Crawford's world, studying her mannerisms and voice. Dunaway recalled, "I read everything I could about her. I worked on her voice with a dialogue coach for a month. I spent days with her secretary, Betty Barker, and with her daughter, Kathy." On set, Dunaway's method acting approach led to conflicts. She insisted on being called Joan, even when cameras weren't rolling. Director Frank Perry later said, "When I yelled cut, Fay would continue to storm around the set as Joan Crawford." The infamous wire hangers scene took a physical and emotional toll. Dunaway performed the scene repeatedly, leaving her voice raw and her emotional state fragile. She later admitted, "By the time we got to the 3rd or 4th take, I was hitting myself with the damn thing." Dunaway's commitment to the role extended to replicating Crawford's cleanliness obsession. She would compulsively clean her dressing room and the set, blurring the lines between actress and character. Mommy Dearest premiered on September 18, 1981, grossing $39 million worldwide. Despite initial mixed reviews, it became a cult classic. However, Dunaway later expressed regret about the film, feeling it negatively impacted her career. Sigourney Weaver, Ellen Ripley in Aliens. Weaver's return as Ellen Ripley in Aliens demanded intense physical and mental preparation. Director James Cameron envisioned a more action-oriented sequel, requiring Weaver to undergo rigorous training. She worked with a former Marine for weapons training and physical conditioning. Weaver performed many of her own stunts, including the famous scene where Ripley operates the power loader. This required her to learn how to operate the hydraulic machine, which weighed over 600 pounds. She recalled, "It was like learning to drive a forklift, but with your entire body." The actress advocated for Ripley's character development, pushing for the inclusion of the subplot about Ripley's deceased daughter. This added emotional depth to the character and influenced Ripley's relationship with Newt. Filming was physically demanding. The set was kept at a constant 90 degrees Fahrenheit to match the planet's tropical climate. Weaver often worked in heavy costumes under these conditions for up to 14 hours a day. Working with the alien creatures posed unique challenges. The alien queen puppet was 14 feet tall and required 16 puppeteers to operate. Weaver had to react to and fight with this complex practical effect, requiring precise timing and physical coordination. Aliens premiered on July 18, 1986, grossing $180 million worldwide. Weaver's performance earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress, a rarity for a science fiction film. Jodie Foster, Clarice Starling in The Silence of the Lambs. Her portrayal of FBI trainee Clarice Starling in The Silence of the Lambs required meticulous preparation. Foster spent time at the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia, undergoing firearms training and studying forensic science. She learned to handle a gun like a professional, practicing for hours to perfect her stance and quick-draw technique. To capture Starling's West Virginia accent, Foster worked with a dialect coach. She listened to hours of recordings of women from the region to perfect the subtle nuances of the accent. Foster recalled, "I wanted Clarice to have a very specific voice, one that showed her background, but also her determination to move beyond it." The film's disturbing content took an emotional toll. Foster immersed herself in research about serial killers and their victims, a process she found deeply unsettling. She stated, "There were times when I had to step away from the material. It was just too dark." Foster's scenes with Anthony Hopkins, who played Hannibal Lecter, were intense. Despite their limited screen time together, they developed a strong rapport. Hopkins would stay in character between takes, maintaining the unsettling dynamic between Lecter and Starling. The climactic scene in Buffalo Bill's basement was particularly challenging. Filmed in near-total darkness, Foster had to convey Starling's fear and determination while navigating a complex set. The night vision shots required Foster to act with special contact lenses that severely limited her vision. The Silence of the Lambs premiered on February 14, 1991, grossing $272 million worldwide. Foster's performance earned her a second Academy Award for Best Actress. Sharon Stone, Catherine Trammell in Basic Instinct. Stone's role as Catherine Trammell in Basic Instinct catapulted her to stardom but came with significant challenges. The infamous interrogation scene, where Stone uncrosses her legs, became one of the most paused moments in film history. However, Stone later claimed she was unaware of the full extent of what would be shown. She stated, "When I saw it in the theater, I was shocked. I went into the projection booth and slapped Paul Verhoeven, the director." The physical demands of the role were intense. Stone performed many of her own stunts, including a car chase scene that required precise driving skills. She recalled, "I insisted on doing the driving myself. It was terrifying, but I wanted it to look real." Stone's on-screen chemistry with Michael Douglas was crucial to the film's success. They spent weeks rehearsing to build the necessary tension and rapport. Douglas later praised Stone's professionalism, saying, "Sharon was fearless. She threw herself into the role completely." The film's violent scenes took an emotional toll. Stone worked with a therapist during filming to process the intense material. She later revealed, "There were moments when I felt truly frightened, even though I knew it was just a movie." Stone's portrayal of Catherine Trammell required a delicate balance of seduction and menace. She studied the mannerisms of sociopaths to bring authenticity to the character. Stone explained, "I wanted Catherine to be charismatic and terrifying in equal measure." Basic Instinct premiered on March 20, 1992, grossing $352 million worldwide. Despite the controversy, Stone's performance was widely praised. She earned a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actress. Angela Bassett, Tina Turner in What's Love Got to Do with It. Her transformation into Tina Turner for What's Love Got to Do with It was a grueling process. Basset underwent intense physical training, working out for up to 3 hours a day to match Turner's muscular physique. She adhered to a strict diet, consuming mostly fish and vegetables to achieve Turner's lean look. The role required Basset to master Turner's distinctive dance moves and stage presence. She spent months working with choreographer Otis Salad, practicing for up to 8 hours daily. Basset recalled, "I had bruises on my knees. My feet were bruised, but I couldn't stop because Tina never stopped." Portraying the domestic abuse Turner suffered was emotionally challenging. Basset worked closely with her co-star, Lawrence Fishburne, to ensure these scenes were handled with sensitivity while maintaining their brutal reality. She stated, "Those scenes were exhausting. We had to go to some dark places." Basset met with Turner to prepare for the role, spending time with her to capture her mannerisms and speech patterns. Turner even lent Basset some of her own wigs and costumes for authenticity. The famous performance scenes were shot in front of live audiences, adding pressure to Basset's portrayal. She performed full concerts, singing and dancing for hours to capture the energy of Turner's shows. What's Love Got to Do with It premiered on June 9, 1993, grossing $56 million worldwide. Basset's performance earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress. Turner herself praised Basset's portrayal, saying, "She played me with such fierceness, let me tell you, she did not back down." Kate Winslet, Rose DeWitt Bukater in Titanic. Winslet's journey as Rose in Titanic was as epic as the film itself. The grueling 160-day shoot pushed Winslet to her physical limits. She spent countless hours in cold water tanks, often filming 20-hour days. Winslet developed pneumonia and nearly quit the production, later saying, "I was genuinely frightened of drowning." The water scenes were particularly challenging. For the famous scene where Rose and Jack are in the freezing Atlantic, the water was only slightly warmed to maintain realistic reactions. Winslet's visible shivering wasn't acting, it was genuine. She recalled, "My lips were blue and I was genuinely cold." Winslet performed many of her own stunts, including a scene where she had to run through a flooded corridor. The rushing water knocked her off her feet, slamming her into a wall and nearly drowning her. Despite this, she insisted on doing multiple takes to get it right. The pressure of working on such a high-budget film, $200 million, was immense. Winslet felt the weight of expectations, saying, "I was aware that if I screwed this up, it would be a huge personal failure." To prepare for the role, Winslet immersed herself in the history of the Titanic and the Edwardian era. She read first-hand accounts from survivors and studied etiquette books to perfect Rose's mannerisms. Titanic premiered on December 19, 1997, becoming a global phenomenon and grossing over $2.2 billion worldwide. Winslet's performance earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress. Years later, Winslet reflected on the experience. "Titanic was a huge turning point in my life. It was the most intense, all-encompassing role I've ever played." Hilary Swank, Brandon Teena in Boys Don't Cry. Her portrayal of Brandon Teena in Boys Don't Cry required an extraordinary transformation. To prepare for the role of the transgender man, Swank lived as a man for a month before filming began. She cut her hair short, wrapped her chest, and stuffed socks in her pants. Swank introduced herself to neighbors as James, her brother, to test her ability to pass as male. The physical transformation was just the beginning. Swank extensively researched Brandon's life, reading his diaries and interviewing people who knew him. She worked with a dialect coach to perfect Brandon's specific accent and speech patterns. Filming the violent scenes, particularly the rape scene, took an emotional toll on Swank. She recalled, "Those scenes were incredibly difficult. I felt a huge responsibility to Brandon and to the transgender community to get it right." The low-budget film, $2 million, meant long, intense shooting days. Swank often worked 16-hour days, maintaining Brandon's physicality and emotional state throughout. She said, "I was completely immersed in Brandon's world. It was exhausting, but necessary." Swank's commitment to authenticity extended to small details. She wore prosthetic genitalia and weighed herself down with weights to alter her gait. Director Kimberly Peirce noted, "Hilary's transformation was so complete, crew members who came late to the production thought she was a boy we'd cast." Boys Don't Cry premiered on September 6, 1999 at the Venice Film Festival. Despite its limited release, it grossed $11.5 million and garnered critical acclaim. Swank's performance earned her an Academy Award for Best Actress. Years later, Swank reflected on the role's impact. "Playing Brandon changed me profoundly. It opened my eyes to struggles I had never fully understood before." Charlize Theron, Aileen Wuornos in Monster. Theron's transformation into serial killer. Aileen Wuornos for Monster was one of the most dramatic in film history. Theron gained 30 pounds for the role, eating a diet high in processed foods and drinking sugary sodas. She said, I just didn't think I would be a believable prostitute as I was. Beyond the weight gain, Theron's physical transformation was extensive. She wore prosthetic teeth, shaved her eyebrows, and wore contact lenses to change her eye color. Her skin was aged and damaged with careful makeup application. Theron spent hours each day in the makeup chair, often starting at 3 a.m. for 7 a.m. shoots. To capture Warnos's distinctive walk and mannerisms, Theron studied hours of courtroom footage. She worked with a movement coach to perfect Warnos's gait, which was affected by years of walking the streets as a prostitute. The psychological toll of portraying a serial killer was significant. Theron immersed herself in Warnos's world, reading her letters and listening to her voice recordings. She recalled, "There were days when I didn't want to go to set because I knew what I had to do emotionally." Despite the film's low budget, $8 million, Theron insisted on using prosthetic teeth rather than caps, which added to the realism but were painful to wear for long periods. Monster premiered on November 16, 2003 at the AFI Fest. It grossed $60.4 million worldwide and received critical acclaim. Theron's performance earned her numerous awards, including an Academy Award for Best Actress. Years later, Theron reflected on the role. "Playing Aileen was the most challenging and rewarding experience of my career. It taught me the true meaning of empathy."